Listen, folks, before I say another word, I want you to sit with this number for a second. After more than 20 years sitting across from married couples in my office here in New England, helping men and women figure out what went wrong in the bedroom, I can tell you that nearly 7 out of 10 women have told me in one form or another that they've quietly stopped feeling truly connected to their husbands during intimacy. 7 out of 10. And here's what floors me every single time. It's almost never because the husband doesn't love her. It's almost never because something's wrong with him physically. It's because nobody, not one single soul, ever taught him the 4 places on his wife's body that actually matter, and the 3 habits that quietly kill a marriage from the inside out. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Ava Remington. Welcome back to the channel. I've spent most of my adult life, over 2 decades now, working with couples from young newlyweds to folks celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary. I've seen it all. The silent bedrooms, the separate blankets, the husbands who come in convinced their wife has fallen out of love, when really she's just tired of being touched like a stranger. And today I want to speak directly to you, gentlemen, especially the older men watching this, the men who've been married 30, 40, 50 years. You love your wife, you've built a life together. But maybe lately things have felt a little cooler than they used to, a little more distant, and you can't quite put your finger on why. Stick with me because by the end of this video, I'm going to walk you through all 4 of those areas. I'm not holding anything back, not saving anything for a next episode, not asking you to come back tomorrow to get the last one. Everything I've learned from my patients is in this one conversation, front to back. If you find something helpful, do me a favor and type the number 1 in the comments. If it missed the mark, just type a 0. Your feedback is what keeps me making these videos. And I read every single one. All right, let's get into it. Before we talk about the 4 spots, I need you to understand why so many good men who are healthy, faithful, hardworking, church-going men, end up in a marriage where their wife has quietly lost interest. Because I promise you, 9 times out of 10, it's not her body that's changed. It's not menopause, it's not stress, it's not even the grandkids. It's 3 habits. 3 small habits that add up over years and years until the woman you married feels more like a roommate than a romantic partner. Mistake number 1, and this is the big one, is rushing, skipping the warm-up entirely. Gentlemen, I cannot tell you how many women have sat in that chair across from me and said almost the exact same words. He treats it like a race. A woman's body and mind don't flip on like a light switch the way a man's does. I'm not saying that to be cute. It's biology, plain and simple. A woman needs time to ease into the moment. She needs soft words. She needs eye contact that lingers. She needs a hand on her cheek or her arm before it goes anywhere else. When a man jumps straight to the physical without any of that, her brain actually sends out a small stress signal. Cortisol rises, her body tightens up, and the door closes, even if she loves him dearly. The research on this is not new. Going all the way back to Masters and Johnson in the 1960s, reinforced by the Kinsey Institute and more recent work out of Indiana University, the data keeps showing that most women need at least 15 minutes of emotional and gentle physical buildup before the body is truly ready. 15 minutes. That's not a suggestion, folks. That's the floor. And I've had men in my office, grown men in their 70s, put their head in their hands when they hear that number, because they've been doing 15 seconds for 40 years and wondering why their wife stopped looking at them the way she used to. Mistake number 2 is selfishness. And I want to be real careful here because I don't mean cruelty. I'm not talking about bad husbands. I'm talking about regular, decent, well-meaning men who were never taught any different. He starts, he focuses on himself. He finishes, and he rolls over. And the wife? She's lying there quietly wondering if he even noticed she was in the room. That feeling, repeated over years, builds up like rust on an old Ford. Slowly, quietly, her desire fades. Not because she doesn't love him, but because her brain has started associating intimacy with disappointment. Here's a statistic that might honestly surprise you. Studies out of major American universities have found that somewhere around 70% of women don't regularly reach a climax with their husbands. 70%. And here's the kicker. It's almost never a medical problem. It's about attention. So the rule is simple, and I want you to write it down somewhere. If you want to enjoy this part of your marriage, make sure she's enjoying it first. Put her before yourself. and watch how everything changes in a matter of weeks. Mistake number 3, and this one's sneaky because it seems so harmless. Because what happens after? A man finishes, and for him it's over. He rolls over, grabs his phone, heads to the kitchen for a glass of water, falls asleep. For a woman, it is absolutely not over. Not even close. She needs those 10 minutes after. She needs a hand resting on her hip. She needs you to say something kind, something that confirms what just happened meant something. A simple, "that was wonderful," "honey," or "I love you so much," can carry her for a whole week. I've seen it. Let me tell you about a patient I'll call Walter. 71 years old, married 45 years, came into my office convinced his wife had grown to resent him. Nothing was working. They hadn't been close in over a year. I asked him, "Walter, what do you do right after?" He thought about it, kind of shrugged and said, "I go brush my teeth." That was it. I told him next time, just lie there with her for 5 minutes, hold her hand, say something gentle, that's all. 2 weeks later, he called me, and I'm not exaggerating. He was choked up. He said, "Dr. Remington, my wife looked at me last night like it was 1979 all over again." 5 minutes, that was it. Don't ever, ever skip those minutes. They're where a marriage gets rebuilt. All right, now that you know the 3 mistakes, let me take you through the 4 places on your wife's body that almost every older man in America misses. And I promise by the end, you will have all 4. No cliffhangers, no tune in next week to get the big one. This is the whole picture. The first area is the sides of the neck. I know, that sounds almost too simple. But let me tell you something. The skin along the sides of a woman's neck, from just below her ear down to her collarbone, is packed with nerve endings that connect directly to the pleasure centers of the brain. When you touch that area softly, I'm not talking about a full kiss, I'm talking about a whisper light brush of your fingertips or a warm breath near her ear. Her brain releases oxytocin. That's the bonding hormone. That's the same chemical that floods a mother's brain when she holds her newborn. It creates safety, closeness, trust. All the things that melt a woman open. Here's the mistake most men make. They go straight for the mouth or straight for the chest, and they skip the neck entirely. Gentlemen, the neck is where emotional intimacy begins. A slow kiss behind the ear, a gentle press of your nose into the hollow beneath her jaw, a whispered, "You're so beautiful," with your lips just grazing her skin. That combination right there is worth more than $100 worth of flowers from the grocery store. I've had patients tell me they've been married 35 years and never once had their husband kiss the side of their neck. 35 years, don't be that guy. Start there, always, especially on a night when she seems tired or stressed or a little distant. It'll turn everything around, and I mean that literally. The second area is the shoulders. This one catches men off guard. They think, shoulders? Really? Yes, really. Here's why. The muscles across a woman's shoulders, the trapezius, the upper back, hold an astonishing amount of daily tension. She's carried the kids, the grandkids, the household, the holiday dinners, the family drama, the worry for decades. And those muscles are a direct gateway to her nervous system. When you come up behind your wife and place both hands on her shoulders, warm hands, gentle pressure, just standing there for 20 seconds without saying a word, her whole body relaxes. I've seen it happen in front of my eyes 1,000 times. A shoulder rub is not just a shoulder rub. It's a message. It says, "I see you. I know you've been running all day. You don't have to be strong right now because I've got you." A 10-minute shoulder massage before bed, with absolutely no other expectation attached, is one of the most powerful things a husband can do for his wife. And here's the bonus. When you touch her shoulders regularly without any agenda, she starts associating your touch with safety. And safety, for a woman, especially a woman in her 60s or 70s, is the doorway to desire. It is the whole ball game. Try this tonight. Walk up behind your wife while she's doing the dishes or watching her show. Don't say a word. Just gently place your hands on her shoulders, squeeze softly, and hold for 30 seconds. Then give her a kiss on the top of her head and walk away. Don't ask for anything. Don't turn it into something else. Just do that. 9 times out of 10, she'll exhale like she's been holding her breath for a week, and she'll remember it for a long, long time. The third area is the inner thigh. Now here we need to slow way down because this is where a lot of men go wrong. The inner thigh is extremely sensitive and it's very close to the most intimate parts of the body, which is exactly why men tend to rush through it or use too much pressure. Don't! I can't stress this enough, gentlemen. The inner thigh responds best to feather-light contact, a slow trail of your fingertips, a soft kiss, patience, patience, patience. The reason this area is so powerful is psychological as much as physical. When you touch your wife's inner thigh gently and without hurry, you're telling her, without saying a single word, I'm not in a rush. I'm not going to take. I'm going to wait for you. That signal that you're present, that you're patient, that she's safe, is what unlocks real desire in an older woman. Grabbing, gripping, or moving too fast here can actually shut her down completely. I've had women in their 60s tell me that when their husband rushes through this area, it makes her feel less like a wife and more like an obligation. That's not what any of us want. So when you get to the inner thigh, slow down. Slow way down. Use the backs of your fingers, not the palms. Breathe. Let the moment build. You'll be amazed at how much power there is in restraint. It's the opposite of what your instincts tell you. And that's exactly why it works. And now, the fourth area. The one I believe most men in America, including men who've been married 50 years, have absolutely no idea about. The lower back. That's right, the small of the back, right where her spine meets her hips. This is one of the most overlooked and, in my professional opinion, one of the most powerful spots on the entire female body. And I want to tell you exactly why. The lower back is a nervous system hub. It's where all the tension from a long day collects. A woman carries her stress in her lower back the same way a man carries it in his shoulders. When you place a warm hand flat against the small of your wife's back, especially when she isn't expecting it, like when you walk past her in the kitchen while she's making coffee, something remarkable happens. Her whole posture softens, her breathing slows, and emotionally, she feels held, protected, desired without being pressured. This touch has been used for centuries, gentlemen. Think about it. In those old black and white photographs of couples from the 40s and 50s, the husband almost always has his hand on his wife's lower back. That wasn't an accident. It's a gesture that says, you belong with me and I'm proud of it. And in intimacy, when you gently press your palm against the small of her back and pull her close, or when you trace slow circles there with your fingertips while kissing her, you activate a whole network of nerves that connect directly to the pelvic region without ever touching it directly. It builds anticipation in the most powerful way I know of, more powerful than almost anything else. Most older men have never, not once, paid real attention to this spot. They've touched their wife's face, her chest, her hips, but never the small of her back, and certainly not with intention. Gentlemen, change that tonight. The next time you walk past your wife, just rest your hand there for a few seconds as you go by. No agenda, no next step. Just a quiet, warm claim. She will feel that touch in her bones for the rest of the day, and she will come to you later wondering what got into her. All right, let me bring it all together, because I want you to walk away from this video with something you can actually use tonight. Here's your cheat sheet. 3 mistakes to stop making. Starting today. 1, stop rushing. Give her at least 15 minutes of warm-up every single time. 2, stop thinking about yourself first. Her pleasure comes before yours, period. And 3, stop disappearing afterward. Those 5 minutes after intimacy are when real love gets built. Hold her. Say something kind. Don't grab your phone. And 4 places to start paying attention to. The sides of her neck. That's where emotional intimacy begins, and oxytocin gets released. The shoulders. That's where safety lives and stress gets released. The inner thigh, gently, patiently, never rushed, always with light fingertips. And the lower back, the hidden doorway that most men in America never even knew existed. Now, I want to tell you one last thing, and I want you to really hear me on this, because this is the lesson 20 plus years of practice has burned into me. A good marriage in your 60s, 70s, 80s, it's not about strength. It's not about how long you last. It's not about anything the magazines and the internet are trying to sell you. It's about attention. It's about slowing down. It's about seeing the woman you married after all these years and all these seasons and letting her know through your hands and your words and your steady presence that she is still the one, that nothing about her has faded in your eyes. The couples I've seen stay genuinely in love into their 80s and 90s aren't the ones with the best chemistry or the fanciest houses. They're the ones where the husband kept learning, kept paying attention, kept being curious about his wife's body and heart for decades on end. You can be that man starting right now. It is never, ever too late. Even if you've been married 40, 50, 60 years, you can start tonight with a single hand on the small of her back. So, here's what I'd love for you to do. Try one of these 4 areas tonight. Just one. Pick whichever one sounds right. And then come back and tell me in the comments how it went. Type 1 if this video helped you. 0 if you think I missed the mark. Your feedback genuinely shapes what I make next, and I read every single comment that comes through. And if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, because next week I'm going to walk you through the 3 sentences you can say to your wife that will make her feel 20 years younger. And I don't say that lightly. It's based on everything I've seen work in real marriages, real living rooms, real bedrooms, right here in America. Until then, take care of each other, be gentle, be patient, be curious. And always remember, the best gift you can ever give your wife isn't flowers, isn't jewelry, isn't a trip to Florida. It's your full, slow, undivided attention. I'll see you in the next one.